Well, the Buffalo Sabres just lost yet again, blowing a third period lead to the Philadelphia Flyers. The Sabres were up 3-0. If you want to hear my reaction to that game, you can go ahead and click the link up here. You can check that video out. If you're listening to this on a podcast-only website, I encourage you to check out my YouTube, Sports Talk Buffalo. Remember, you guys like, subscribe, click the notification bell so you guys never miss a video. With nothing but perpetual sadness for the Buffalo Sabres as a fan, what is there to look forward to? Of course, one thing to look forward to is the NHL trade deadline, which is April 12th. The Buffalo Sabres already got started with their fire sale by trading away veteran center Eric Staal. The Sabres traded Eric Staal to the Montreal Canadiens in exchange for a 3rd and 5th round pick. And the Sabres retained $1.65 million of Eric Staal's salary, which I believe is half, which is the most you can retain in a trade situation for the Buffalo Sabres. Now, in my opinion, I think that's a fairly decent return. Eric Staal never really looked like he wanted to be here in Buffalo from the get-go. I liked the trade. If you watch my other videos, you can see that I really liked the trade. I thought it was a fantastic idea. Eric Staal has had nothing but success in his NHL career, and bringing somebody like that into the Sabres organization, I thought would be just a tremendous move, even if it was for only one season until Dylan Cousins can get ready to be that second-line center. And it just absolutely blew up in the Sabres' face. It didn't work at all. Of course, nothing this season has worked at all for the Buffalo Sabres. So, again, what is there to look forward to? The trade deadline. And the first piece of the big news for the Buffalo Sabres, Eric Staal, who's been rumored to be, on the trade block for a while now, he has been dealt. So what is the next name on the trade block for the Buffalo Sabres? Of course, it is unrestricted free agent Taylor Hall. Now, I seen a trade online that was just, at first glance, was absolutely ridiculous. It's still pretty ridiculous. Where they traded Taylor Hall to the Boston Bruins. They got DeBrusk and a first-round pick and a fourth-line center, I believe. I forgot his name off the top of my head. I did share it on Twitter. You can go to my Twitter, Sports Talk Buffalo on Twitter, at Sports Talk Buff1. You can follow me on Twitter also there. But I looked into it a little bit, and I'm going to tell you something. I think that the Sabres can actually do a deal that would benefit them for the future. Not just draft picks, but a player that could actually step into the lineup and play. And I think that's what the Sabres need to do. They have a good young core. They're still young, as much as we all hate to harp on that. Jack Eichel's in his prime. Sam Reinhart's in his prime. I know Rasmus Dahlin has had a very, very rough season, but that does not discount his rookie season. And last season, he was okay. He wasn't great. But maybe with a new coach, he will be better. We have guys like Dylan Cousins coming in. Obviously, we still have Jeff Skinner. He has not forgotten how to score. He did look good recently. But you want to build around these guys. You could potentially have a very good team. You could turn this around quickly. And I think this is the last chance the Sabres have to turn things around quickly. So the trade that I came up with after seeing that trade on Twitter was Taylor Hall to the Boston Bruins in exchange for Jake DeBrusk, a second-round pick, a third or second-round pick. Realistically, I'll take any middle-round pick if we get Jake DeBrusk, and potentially a prospect. And I said Oscar Steen, who was a sixth-round pick. He's 23 years old. He's got 31 points in, I believe, 73 games in the AHL. He's a center. It is a depth move. It is something that the Buffalo Sabres can absolutely use in their organization. They have zero depth at center in their organization, as evident by the fact that John Sebastian D was on the first line the other night, for fuck's sake. That was horrible. But I'll tell you why this trade makes sense. The Boston Bruins get a top 6 forward in Taylor Hall. Obviously, Hall has not had a very good year. I understand that. Let me get to the end of this before you guys all jump in the comments and start harping on me about how absolutely horrible this trade is and that it'll never happen. Hall would make an immediate impact on a cup-contending Boston Bruins team. He is a top 6 forward. He can jump right into the second line and potentially provide very, very good secondary scoring for the Boston Bruins. Something that they could desperately want heading into the playoffs and trying to make another cup run. The Sabres get a good young forward in Jake DeBrusk to pair with Dylan Cousins next season on the second line. He has 1 year left on his contract, and he is a restricted free agent, which means the Buffalo Sabres would have his rights and essentially have all of the leverage with Jake DeBrusk. Now, DeBrusk is just 24 years old. He has seasons, of 43 points, 42 points, and 35 points. In his first season, he had 16 goals and 27 assists. In his second season, he had 27 goals and 15 assists. And in his third season, he had 19 goals and 16 assists. And this season, he only has 7 points in 20 games, I believe, 3 goals, 4 assists. He's on the COVID list right now, so he's not playing. But the reason why I said this, and it makes sense, is, like I said, Hall is a proven goal scorer. Hall is a proven scorer in the NHL. He could make an immediate impact on an already good Boston Bruins team. Like I said, slot right in on the top 6 and provide an immediate impact. I don't think they would have to worry about putting Taylor Hall on the second line for the Boston Bruins and him come right in and actually start to score. And if it doesn't work out, of course, the Sabres would probably retain some of his salary, but then they could just walk away from Taylor Hall. They could make a run at the Stanley Cup with Hall, and then if it didn't work out, they could just walk away, throw it in the garbage. Oh, well, we took a real shot at the Stanley Cup again. We brought in a big name. It shows fans, yes, Taylor Hall is still a big name. Believe it or not, people, a lot of people don't realize how god-awful of a season Taylor Hall is having. Now, obviously, GMs and all that, they know how much of a struggle Taylor Hall's been having. But again, you bring in a guy like Taylor Hall, and you're really showing everyone, yes, we're taking a run at the Stanley Cup. Not just trying to win in the playoffs. We're going for the Stanley Cup. And if Taylor Hall likes it in Boston, he's successful in Boston, he enjoys winning, as Boston has been a very good team for the last 5 to 10 to 15 years. They've been a very good team. He could re-sign there, and then he could get to the winning that he said he wanted last season when he was a unrestricted free agent before he signed with the Buffalo Sabres. Now, the reason why this may actually make sense is DeBrusk may have actually fallen out of favor with the Boston Bruins. He was a healthy scratch earlier in March. He hasn't been performing very well. He had just 1 goal in his first 17 games this season. And they've tried, from what I read, they tried everything. They put him throughout the lineup, up and down the lineup. First line, second line, third line, fourth line, scratched him. And he's still not producing the way that he had in his first 3 seasons. So he may be falling out of favor with the Boston Bruins, and now would be the time to try to get him, and I don't want to say resurrect his career, he's only 24. Now would be a time to snap on a good young player that just may need a change of scenery. Because we've seen that happen before. Some guys, they just need a fresh start. They just need to get that little bit of weight off their shoulders. They stop clutching their stick so tight, and they are actually able to start performing the way that they are capable of performing in a new atmosphere with some new guys like Dylan Cousins. And next season, it would just be I think it would be a fantastic fit for the Buffalo Sabres. Like I said, it is a long shot, but I don't think it's as long as a lot of people really believe. So I think that is something that the Sabres should absolutely pick the phone up and go talk to Boston GM. Kevin Adams should go talk to the Boston GM and really try and see if he could work something out for somebody like Jake DeBrusk, because he's a good, solid, young forward with a little bit of term left. So if it didn't work out next season, the Sabres could walk away. And if it doesn't work out next season, I got to tell you, there's probably going to be a complete teardown and rebuild of the Buffalo Sabres. Another trade that I wrote down here, and it is a lot more appealing now, I'm sure, to the Florida Panthers now that Aaron Ekblad is out. That is why I wrote this down. I seen that he was out. They are right in the thick of things in their playoff race. They are third, I believe, in the South Division this season, and they have a solid team. With Aaron Ekblad going down and being done for the season with a leg injury, having a puck-moving offensive defenseman that could potentially fill in for Ekblad. Now, obviously, Ekblad is a way better overall defenseman than is Brandon Montour, but that doesn't take away from the fact that Brandon Montour is a solid veteran NHL defenseman that can come right in. They don't have to worry about a rookie coming in and trying to fill in for Ekblad and contribute right to the Florida Panthers. So now, it depends on how desperate Florida is to get a younger unrestricted free agent in Brandon Montour. The Sabres, in my opinion, could potentially get a third-round pick, maybe even a conditional second-round pick. Because of the injury, the Florida Panthers may be that desperate that they give up a conditional second-round pick for Brandon Montour and a prospect. Now, that would be a very good return on a somewhat disappointing Brandon Montour. Obviously, we gave up a ton to get Brandon Montour. We gave up a first, we gave up Brendan Gooley, and I believe we gave up another piece to get Brandon Montour to Buffalo. But I think a return like that for him after it not working out in Buffalo would be fantastic. It would start to load up the middle round picks. Maybe we could finagle some of those guys into some bottom six guys that can come right in next season and really help with secondary scoring. You know, we need some bigger guys. We need some power forwards on the Sabres. We need some guys that can really grind on the Sabres. We don't have that. We have a lot of skill, but we don't have a lot of guys that can use their physical prowess to really open up the ice for the rest of the players. And I said a prospect. And the prospect that I said is right winger, Logan Hutzko. I looked up Logan Hutzko. He was a third-round pick in 2018. He is a senior at Boston College, has 44 points in 41 games in his last two seasons, 23 goals and 21 assists. And at the end of this season, he is a senior, so he will be an unrestricted free agent, is somebody that the Boston Bruins may be willing to part with because they might not believe that they can get him signed to a pro contract. Now, somebody like Logan Hutzko could be looking for an immediate opportunity in the NHL, and that's something that they don't have a lot of depth. The Sabres could potentially give him an immediate opportunity in the NHL, and that could be appealing enough to sign an entry-level contract with the Buffalo Sabres. In my opinion, I think the Sabres really need to go down that road. They need to go and try to get more than just draft picks for these players. They need to try to win next year, or at least be very, very solid next season if they don't make the playoffs. And I know people, again, we're going to go back to the Boston trade. I know people won't want to trade to Boston and Florida because they're going to be, in the same division, same conference, whatever. But it's not going to matter next season because we'll probably go back to the old or the old way of doing things where they only play teams 2 times a year, so we won't have to see these guys very often. Yes, it might help Boston if Taylor Hall signs with them next year, whatever. You can't be concerned about other teams. We have to fix the Sabres first before we worry about making other teams better. We have to, first and foremost, should be making the Sabres a better team. And Jake DeBrusk would make the Sabres a better team. And trading for, trading these guys on the Buffalo Sabres and getting back decent return has a great chance of making the Sabres a better team without a complete and utter rebuild that I fear would be coming if the Buffalo Sabres are not halfway decent next season. What do you guys think of my trades, my trade offers? Let me know in the comments section below. If you're listening on audio only, make sure you tell your friends and tell your family. They can hear me on any of the major podcasting websites. You can follow me on Twitter at Sports Talk Buffalo on Twitter. You can email me at sportstalkbuffalo@yahoo.com or sportstalkbuffalo@gmail.com. The emails are in the description. Remember to hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, let you know when any of my new videos come out. I will be trying to potentially upload just videos occasionally on my YouTube channel. When I get some time to do things, I'm really just trying to set this up as best I can for everybody here. I hope you guys like what you are hearing from me. Remember, leave a thumbs up, leave a comment. I always try to answer all my comments. I appreciate it, guys. Have a fantastic week.